Okay, so in the last 25 years, I've coached more than 9,000 CEOs and sales executives. And in day 2 of the coaching, I get into a tool that I call the Critical Account Planning Tool, or the CAP tool. So just to reference, in the app, we have 1-minute tips, we have longer talks, and we have tools. And I'm going to give you an example of a tool today. This tool that I have is called the Critical Account Planning Tool, or I call it the CAP tool. So I'm going to start by sharing with you a couple of survey numbers. 20 to 30% of all properly targeted prospects, everyone out there in the universe, is in some stage of the decision cycle regarding any product or service. You know, today I'm in one of my favorite places in the world with some of my favorite people. I'm in a recording studio in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And if they're looking for additional clients for video taping services, 20 to 30% of properly targeted prospects out here in the business community will either be using someone right now that they're unhappy with, knowing that they need to create videos and not knowing where to find someone, or actively looking for someone to create videos for them. In other words, 2 or 3 out of every 10 properly targeted people are in some stage of the decision cycle. Now let me share with you this other fact. 70 to 80% of all purchases are a result of the buyer seeking the seller. I want you to consider the implications. Think about the things you've bought this month. Were they the result of someone approaching you and giving you an idea you had never thought of? Probably not. The vast majority of decisions that you've made in the past month were a result of you deciding you needed something. You were in the decision cycle and you went out and looked for it. Right? So here's my question for you. Are all customers created equal? And if we know that they're out there looking, how do we prioritize who to spend time with? So I've come up with a concept that I call the apple tree. All right, so as I start to draw this, I want you to picture a huge apple tree. And I wanted you to think of yourself as apple pickers. Okay? Every apple on this tree is a potential piece of business, is someone who you would like to say yes to, or who could purchase your product and services this year. So take a look. Not all these apples are created equal. Some of them are big, some of them are small. And here's the question I'm going to start with. What are the easiest apples for you to pick? And the answer to that question certainly is the apples that are the low-hanging fruit, right? Well, actually, there's a group of apples that are easier to pick than that, and they're the apples that are down here on the ground. These apples are so you don't even have to pick them. You could just stumble over them. But what's the problem with the apples that are on the ground? They're unhealthy. They're full of worms. They're bad. They're rotten. Okay, this is going to be group number 3. These are bad apples. So out there in the universe are deals that you don't want to go after. Now you might define a bad apple differently in your environment, but most of my clients would define a bad apple as someone who's only looking for something based on price, who has an RFP, who already has a vendor and they're trying to beat that vendor's price. A bad apple might also be someone who's really hard to deal with. Okay, but you gotta, as an organization, have a conversation because you don't want your people spending time focused on the bad apples. All right? There's another group of apples here that I want you to be aware of that are dangerous for you, okay? Those are the apples that are up here. This is group number 2, and I want you to stay away from these as well. You know what these are? These are the shiny apples. These are the huge clients. These are the ones that you want to steal from your competitor. But what's the problem with these? Why are shiny apples dangerous? Because you gotta really get high up off the ground. And you know what? You might injure yourself going after them. These are the deals that take you months, that take your entire team's focus away from the other things they're doing. And these ones are a waste of time as well. You know, how would you even get up into the tree though? Because the question for you is, the best apples are here, and how do you get at them? All the best apples in the tree are in the widest part of the tree, and they're all the healthiest apples that are on the tree. This is target group number 1, folks. You know what you need here? You need a ladder to get up into that tree. And that's what my YESCALATE process is. My YESCALATE process is a structure for you to get up into that tree. So we know that not all apples are created equal. We know that not all customers are created equal. So I want to share with you a tool that I call the Critical Account Planning Tool. And I want you to think about 2 matrix. First matrix is impact. A customer can have a high or a low impact on our business. And the second matrix I want you to think of is ease. A client could be easy or difficult to work with. And of course, the visual that we use to illustrate impact would be a dollar sign. High or low dollar impact on our business. And the icon that we could use to illustrate ease would be a smiley face. A client that we like doing business with, or a client that we don't like doing business with. Now there's multiple factors that go in here, and one of the things that I do in my coaching is I ask the team to vote on what they think are the 3 or 4 factors that directly affect dollars and impact. So total revenue that we drive from a customer might be one. A customer who pays on time might be another. A customer who can generate recurring business or a repeat customer. A customer that has cross-sell or upsell opportunities. These are all impact factors. Ease factors might include a client that we enjoy working with, a client that treats us with respect and treats us like a partner, a client that we have fun with. Ease factors might be a client in a part of the country, a location that's easy for us to get to or that we enjoy going to. Ease factor might be, well, there's a number of ease factors. What I want you to think about is this. If I were to get your team together and we were to identify 3 of each, 3 impact factors and 3 ease factors, and you were to score each of the factors for each client on a scale of 0 to 10, you might come up with, for 3 factors, you might come up with 30 points for impact, and you also might come up with 30 points for ease. So right now, think about your top 3 clients, or think about 3 deals that you and your team could be spending time on. And I want you to rate them in terms of their impact and in terms of their ease, because where we're going with this is I want you to be able to create a matrix, which I'll call critical account planning, which goes from 0 up to 30. And now we have a tool, what we'll call a CAP tool. And if you look at this, we have 4 quadrants. We have the clients that generate a lot of revenue for us, and we're gonna put those up here as high dollar impact clients. We have the clients that are a lot of fun to deal with, whether that's because they're in specific parts of the country or whether that's because they treat us well. These are our really easy clients to deal with. And then we have clients that fall into this category right here. These are the ones that we got to really rethink whether we should be doing business with. But I want you to take a moment and take a look. We now have 4 quadrants, don't we? Where do we want to be spending our time, guys? We want to be spending our time in quadrant 1. We want to be spending our time with clients that have the highest dollar impact for us and are the most fun and easiest for us to work with. And where don't we? What clients do we want to fire? We want to fire clients down in quadrant 4. Okay, let me tell you about any client. A client has privileges. Okay? By the way, clients lose their dean privileges. My assistant Sarah has a list. There's about a dozen clients on the no dean privileges list. That's because for some reason, they've shown me that they belong in quadrant 4. I've taught my daughter Devin, it's a privilege to be your friend. You know, one of Devin's friends lost her Devin privileges recently. We got to do the same thing. If our focus is to make a difference in the world, all we have is our time. Guys, where are you going to spend your time? You're going to spend your time in quadrant 1, or you're going to spend your time in quadrant 4. I want you to take a moment. I want you to start thinking before you approach any client. I want you to put this cap on. This critical account planning tool will help you assess where you spend your time.